Hello there, and welcome to the Potent Puffin podcast. I'm your host, Jake Thomas. Now, this week has had quite a lot of stuff going on. So, Wednesday, I started my new job at the newspaper. However, on Monday, the police department gave me a call asking if I was still interested in my old dispatching position. And initially I said, no, I've already taken another job. And I was like, I think it might be something that might benefit me uh, long term. And then I talked to my wife about it, and went over a lot of other things going on in our life, and we're like, well, maybe the dispatch job might actually be better for us now and set us up better financially later. So I was like, whenever we move, you know, I can gain that experience, or it's possible that that experience may not even be needed. And so I gave the police department a call back. I was like, hey, if it's not too late, I would like to be considered for that position. And so they had me come in on Tuesday, and I just talked with my old sergeant and the lieutenant, and it was just, basic stuff, just going over, what I think could have been better when I worked there before, what has changed since I left, um, some of the scheduling differences, as they were on 8-hour shifts, when I was working there, but now they're on 12-hour shifts, but they're not on the normal 12-hour shift rotation. They're instead doing 4 days on, 2 days off, which, I think that's fine. I'm okay with it, because a lot of the time when I was with the police department, even though we were on 12s, at least 2 days a week we're doing 12-hour shifts just to cover people being gone or not having enough personnel. So it's really not that big of a change, honestly. Um, so I talked to them, and then, and they also wanted reassurance that, I wasn't gonna leave really quick. I was like, no, I'm gonna be here at least another year and a half-ish. I was like, we're not looking to move until the spring of 22. And so, yeah, and they just wanted assurance that, I wasn't just gonna be gone in, 6 months or something. And so then Wednesday, I started at the newspaper. Haven't really gotten too much into my actual position yet with them. And I've just been going over some of, some of my side jobs that I'll have. Mainly just because my boss has been off island. And so the person training me is the person who my side duties are to cover her when she's out to lunch or takes a day off, is to cover her role as well. So I've just kind of been learning that. And then on Thursday, the police department called me back and were like, hey, the city's, willing to give you a conditional offer if you still want it. And I was like, you just give me to the weekend to think about it, talk it over with my wife, just to, be sure that this is what we're wanting. So we took some time, talked it over with Brandy, went over pros and cons of, both jobs, and then I ended up accepting the job at the police department. But I'm not tentatively set to start that until the 16th. And so, with my boss at the newspaper being off island, I haven't actually quit there yet. The person I've been training under, I've let her know, so she knows what's up. But I'm just having to wait until Monday to actually tell my actual boss. and decide if, it's just going to be, I've only been here 3 days, just call it right now, or, work to the end of the week kind of thing. Because, we're both kind of on that, no need in wasting my time being somewhere that I'm not going to be, and no need in wasting their time training someone who's not going to be doing the job they're training them to do. But it may also be a thing where, well, you could work at the week, just so, get a paycheck, and, maybe I could pick up a few things that could be beneficial later on. I don't know. It's just, what we're going to talk about Monday. Be kind of interesting to see how that goes, but I'm excited to be back at the police department, because that's a great group of people, good people to work with. I enjoy all the other dispatchers that work there. There's some new ones that I don't know yet, but I think, that's exciting to meet new people there. Yeah. I found out one of my favorite officers who left the department before I did, he's actually coming back too. And so I'm really excited to, get to be working with him again. And yeah, so it's going to be a good thing, being back with the police department. And then, so on Wednesday, when I first got to the newspaper, like one of the first things I did was count out, fold, and bag all the newspapers for, I think, like 3 of the routes, and stuff in that big paper delivery bag. I was like, man, this is like I'm about to play a round of Paperboy. And the their driver who drives the delivery routes, he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, Paperboy, the old Sega Genesis game? And he's like, what's a Sega Genesis? And I was like, what? Are you really asking me what a Sega Genesis is right now? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh man. I was like, it's only like one of the best video game consoles there ever was. I was like, it contains like all the classic video games on it. You had Sonic the Hedgehog, Mortal Kombat, Primal Rage. Like, it's just so many great games were on the Genesis. I mean, I spent countless hours with Mortal Kombat and Primal Rage and Paperboy. See, there's a Jungle Book game that I played a lot when I was a kid. That game was a lot of fun. Sonic the Hedgehog was so big on the Sega. Remember when Sega had the Dreamcast, which was another one of my favorite consoles. Had a really cool Sonic game. That was basically, it was like Mario Party, but it was Sonic the Hedgehog characters. And man, that game was a lot of fun. And man, speaking of the Dreamcast, Crazy Taxi played a lot of Crazy Taxi on the Dreamcast. And which was cool when I was interning at Mercer down in Georgia over the summer. There was one bar that I went to a lot called Reboot, and their like theme was like they're an arcade and a bar, and they had Crazy Taxi there. It was, I tell you, the arcade version is so much harder than the Dreamcast version was. Oh man, yeah, but that was cool. I was just so shocked that this dude didn't know what a Sega Genesis was. And I'm like, you're not that much younger than I am. I'm like, how do you not know what a Genesis is? So, that was kind of a shocker for me. And, so, then, Saturday, out at the fairgrounds here, they set up this big catapult, and you could go and donate like canned food, and you could launch your pumpkins from this catapult. So everyone's like bringing in all like their old jack-o'-lanterns and stuff. And so we took Calson out there to do that. We tried to get him to pull the string to launch the catapult, but he wouldn't do it, so I had to do my pumpkin and his. Which with his, like, so the jack-o'-lanterns that him and Brandy did were both like all kind of like squishy. So like they like squished Calson's inside of Brandy's to get it like enough consistency that it would sit in the sling. And like when we launched that one, like it went like straight up in the air, and we all thought it was just gonna come straight back down, but like it went just far enough forward that it went in front of the catapult. But the pumpkin that I had carved was still like really solid, so it actually flung out pretty good. There was one that we watched while we were there, and when they pulled it, like it came out early, and so it flew backwards. It was pretty crazy. And then they had other like little games set up out there too for the kids. Um, like they had like pumpkin rolling races, and Calson wouldn't do that at first, so me and Brandy did the pumpkin rolling races, and I won. They gave me like this little candy bag, and then Calson's like, "Oh," Calson said he wanted to do it. And so I was racing Calson, of course, I'm like going like super snail pace rolling this pumpkin so that Calson can win. And then like he just trips. And he was like, "Yep, I'm done with this." And so then they also had potato sack races. And we're trying to get Calson to do it, and he would get in the potato sack, but he wouldn't jump. He'd just get in, he'd get out. He's like, "No, I want to get in the sack." So we'd put him back in there. Still, he didn't want to jump in it. And so then there's some other person there, and she wanted to race somebody, and like we were trying to like leave, and like the people running was like, "Hey, one of y'all want to race?" And Brandy was like, "Oh yeah, Jake will do it." And so I ended up in like a potato sack race against some random person, and like I'm like I want to win because I'm competitive, but at the same time, like I can tell like this person's not really um athletically inclined as I am, so I'm like trying to just like say just enough at them that I'm not like completely obliterating them in this race, but at the same time I'm like I want to win. And so then they gave us another one of those little bags of candy for winning, and then Calson, they like, "Oh, you can just run it." So Calson, he like ran the course and just running it rather than popping it, and they gave him a painted pumpkin that was painted up like a candy corn. And so we came to this thing to get rid of our pumpkins, and we're leaving with a new pumpkin. But it's cool because it's more fall than Halloween kind of pumpkin. So we stuck it on the porch with our giant inflatable turkey, which Calson is obsessed with. Every morning he's like, "Dad, I want to blow up the turkey." And so he goes out there and plugs it in and watches it blow up. And then he tells me the turkey eats people, and I don't know where he gets that, because it doesn't, and I explained that to him. See, he's telling me right now that the big turkey eats people. I don't get it. But, yeah, and that's kind of what's going on this week. I hope you all have enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed making it. If you did, please give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram. Check out my YouTube as well. And, I'll catch y'all next week.